Hey, SVC football fans, Shane Combs of SVC Sports Zone here on the YouTube channel coming back to you. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. See our player interviews. You'll see through the list there, the Expanding the Zone, a leadership podcast I do with my brother Matt. And as always, we want to thank Dr. Chris Good Health Chiropractic Center for all his support of all that we're trying to do to promote our student athletes throughout the SVC. And I told you I'd come back to you here as we got through the first 3 weeks of SVC football. The non-league play is before we get ready for week 4, which is, of course, the opening night of Cider Valley Conference. And I guess my first takeaway is scheduling. You know, I've talked about this before, the difference between being 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3 can sometimes be who you play. Sometimes it can be how you play, maybe a mixture of both. I think it can also really set a tone for where your team is at physically, mentally, emotionally, and so forth. So as we start down through it, I guess there's some things that, necessarily didn't surprise me, probably didn't surprise you either. A team like Zane Trace in terms of their domination on the ground with Barnhart and Phillips. Was impressed with Langley's ability, dual threat there from the QB position. See Ison and Lane get involved a little bit, and the job that they do up front. Certainly not surprised by that 3-0 start. You knew 2-1, 3-0, depending on how that week 1 went. Once they got through the Logan Elm, I was pretty confident that they would run the table through those first 3 weeks. The team also at 3-0 that I thought was really impressive was Uniota. Watching them a year ago and then watching them now. I think I watched them 4 times last year and then seeing them already a couple times here in the early going. I mean, wow, what a year's growth in the weight room. I know you get a year older, but just the physicality difference is incredible. With the hoops there at quarterback, thrown to a long list of athletes. So impressed how many different kids are touching it. Obviously, we know about Fox, hoops and Dre and Dement and both Griffins. Matt and Andrew, Tuttle. See the other night, Cunningham with the pick 6. I mean, there's just such a long list of kids involved there. So at 3-0 with who they've played, they've announced their presence in this league race for sure. And then a couple 2-1 teams, Piketon and Huntington. Congratulations, Coach Gaulian, 100th win earlier in the year, and the job they've done. I know the other night the Wilson 99-yard run was a neat thing, and then I think Austin's done a real nice job filling in some pretty big shoes to fill. The 2-1 start certainly solid. Huntington at 2-1. Congratulations to them. I know coaching against the Crocker kid, DJ. He's nice. He's a nice athlete. He's a winner, and sounds like the other night he just kind of put him on his back. And obviously, when you get rushing totals like that, Black and company up front are doing a job, but certainly a good start for Huntington. And then you have 4 1-2 teams: Westfall, Paint Valley, Adena, Southeastern. And as you look ahead to week 4, those are some of your matchups. I know for SVC Network, I'll be calling the Westfall Paint Valley game, and both of those teams coming in 1-2. And I think anybody that's older than 30, 35 years old, this has always been the game. For the longest time, the winner of this game would kind of determine who's going to win the SVC, and it didn't matter if it was week 4, week 7, week 10, whenever. When you look at the tradition and the overall rivalry of this matchup, there's so many athletes, and seeing Westfall this past week and starting to get familiar with some of their athletes. Obviously, Klein special, and Wickline and Walters and Tyler and so forth. I know I'm missing some, and I'll study them more and more in preparation for that game this week. But them being off that 1-2 start, played some solid opponents. Certainly at home, going to be a tough matchup. Paint Valley, look, they don't need me to get on here and make excuses for them. They certainly have gone through some adversity that would hit any roster. They've got some guys thrown in the fire. We know how. We talked about the last time we were together, with Cooper, and he's certainly been off to a great start, and Chambers and Robertson and so forth. But, Carson Freeze, one that stepped up big time for them here and filling those roles, and not to continue to do that. The other matchup, Adena Southeastern. With McWhorter and Pfeiffer and Peters and so forth, getting some different guys involved. If they can get that running game, the Treitzer kid, really good. If they can get the Adena running game under control, that could be a competitive matchup too. And then out of those 4 teams I'd mentioned before, let's see, we have Zane Trace and Piketon. Last year, Piketon, the defending champ, Zane Trace, going toe-to-toe with them last year. Little did we know Zane Trace would go on to kind of be dominant the rest of the year, but it was kind of too little too late when you consider they were waiting on someone else to help them with Piketon, and Piketon obviously running the table. And so this week, certainly a big matchup there as Zane Trace tries to continue to roll. And then Unio to Huntington, I don't know if they have any history or not. I don't know if anything happened in that game last year worthy of note or not. So maybe that'll have a little bit of intensity to it as well here in week 4. So that's kind of where we're at now. I look forward to getting started in the SVC play, and I'll try to check back with you throughout the year to make sure we're trying to kind of keep it all straight and try to give the kids some coverage. Thanks, everyone.